Please. 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 Yeah. So I forgot to mention, just a word on Lorcan. I know you guys see him with me quite a lot of the time in the workshop, and I want to preempt your concerns about him being in here and fumes and dust and things like that. Whenever I'm sanding by hand, I don't mind him in here because the dust is minimal pretty much. But if I'm using the big sander for any long periods of time, anything over just a short, small panel, something that's going to create a lot of dust, I don't have him in here. I usually have him at home, or I leave him at home with my partner. The same goes for painting. If I'm painting, he's not going to be in here at all, just because of the fumes. So rest assured, I'm not a bloody moron, and I do look after him. If I have to have him with me, I have to have him with me, and I tailor what I do in the workshop around that if he is going to be here. So yeah, please don't. I look after him. He's a good boy. I love him to bits. So yeah, rest assured. Hello. Right, so the paint's on. Exterior nipped. I've started to put a couple of the bits back on, like the bumpers and the indicators and things like that. Yes, for those of you I know, right now, stop, look, yeah, okay, look, oh, look, okay, but I'm sorry. Please sit down. There's no need to lose your temper, right? I didn't film me painting the yellow. Between you and me, it took me that many goes to get it right. Yeah. Disclaimer, I'm not a painter, I'm not a mechanic, in any way, shape or form. This is my hobby. I'll bring you round and I'll show you what I've done and what's been done. And then after that, I'll move on to what we're going to do today. But before we do that, you know the drill. Go and get the kettle on, grab yourself a brew, and I'll meet you by... we'll go the back end first and then we'll work our way round. Alright? I'll see you in a bit. 2 sugars for me. Cheers. Right. Oh, wow, that's hot. So it's a nice comfortable 0 degrees Celsius this morning. So I'll talk about the paint, and why I had to rush to do this and why I didn't really film it is because of what I just said. It's 0 degrees. It's freezing. Once you get below 10 degrees Celsius, the paint doesn't want to dry and it starts doing weird things. You'll see it starting to craze and it'll take ages to go off. It'll take ages to harden. So it was a bit of a race against time. This stuff didn't really matter. The roof, not bothered. This stuff was the most important because this is a proper 2-pack paint. The rest of this is rattle can stuff and shorts gun. I couldn't care less. So it was a race against time to get this done. It's not perfect. But again, this is my hobby. So as long as it's shiny and there's minimal runs, I'm happy. So I'll talk to you about how I did it, right? The processes of which. When you're painting stuff, I do it in a nice 2-step procedure, right? And the first step is to make sure that you have some sort of plan of how to apply this paint. And then step 2 is to apply that plan badly, right? So usually you'll do your body work first, right? So we're assuming that the body is fine. Filler's been done, sanding's been done. You want a primer, and then you want your main coat. So the primer, it doesn't matter what colour it is, as long as it's, like this is yellow, so my primer was white, because if I'd used a grey or a black primer, it would have shown through. So, and it's the same with both paints. I start with a nice dust, just dust it on there, so it's just, you're not applying, you're not putting loads on there, just nice and dust it on, and then you wait for that to go tacky. Use a nondescript part of the van. You're waiting for it to go tacky. Once it's gone tacky, again, dust, but a little bit more than a dust. Yep, cool. and then again, wait for it to go tacky, and then again, just keep going. And section it off, so you can see, I'm not going to do this whole length in one go, am I, with the gun? And then, it's just not going to work, is it? It's not going to work. So section it off, so I'm going to do, right, this panel. Yeah, dust it, dust it, dust it. Right, this panel. Yeah, dust it, dust it, dust it. This, section it up. It makes it easier for yourself. Right, and then, yeah, that's it really. If you put too much on, the reason why I'm saying dust it and do it in loads of very slow, very patient layers is because if you put too much on, it will start to run. It will start to bow, and the weight of the paint will run it down. And it will pull all the other layers that you've put in with it. So you'll have to sand it all back and start again, or flat it down, wait for it to go hard, which I don't have the time to because it's so cold and it'll take so long, and then flat it down with some emery paper, very fine sandpaper, and a block, and then polish it out. That's a lot of work and a lot of time in itself. So the rest of the van was fine. There's some pretty heinous runs on the boot lid, and on the front it took me, well, it was about 3 goes to get the front done. It ran, so sanded it all off, painted it, and then it crazed weirdly. I don't know whether I've got oil in it somewhere, or I have no idea. So I had to wait for that to dry again, sand all that off, and then start again. It's sort of okay now. It's okay now. But that's how I do it, right? You and I are not professionals. The paint gun I use is the cheapest paint gun money can buy, right? People who ask, you know, oh, what sort of equipment do you use? It's like, as much as I can afford is what I use. I can't afford to spend money on stupid bloody kit. I'm in a workshop that isn't my own, using stuff that doesn't belong to me to make a car, you know, to get a van going. So I use the cheapest gun. And you see these guys that know exactly the distance where their gun needs to be and at what speed they need to pull to get a perfect first layer of put it all almost perfect in 1 or 2 goes, passes of the gun. You and I are never going to be able to do that, which is why I advise dust it nice and gently, nice and slow, patience and time. So dust it, dust it, dust it, wait for it to go tack, dust it, a little bit more than a dusty, 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 tack, 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 yeah, and then more and more and more. Keep going, nice and gently, as fucking delicate as you can. Really, that's the only way I know how to paint, because if I paint any other way, it doesn't work. So I'll show you some of the paint. That's water, that's a leak, so please forgive. You can still see some of the filler work that I've done. There's nothing I can do about that now. Couple of runs down here. You can see I haven't polished any of this yet. I haven't polished any of that. I'll probably take some thinner and cut that out so it's level. The rest of it I'm pretty pleased with. Some of the matte I will have to go over again. It's going to be a bugger to keep this clean, the matte. I mean, well, look at that. Bloody hell. Rest of it's not too bad. Little bit of one there that I've tried to flat off. Oh, the boot lid. Oh, yeah, I didn't see all this. This is all runs. And also on... yeah, horrendous paintwork really on the boot. But not bad. This is what I'm saying. The paint's on there, right? Again, I'm not a professional. Water leak. This side again the same. Oop. Small run there. Not noticeable. Bit of sanding. But overall, I'm pleased with how it's come out. I'm pleased with how it looks. So what are we doing today? Well, you'll remember when I mentioned that once the outside was done, I needed to do some work on the engine. Well, that time is now. Today's the day. And I haven't got long to do it. I've got a few hours. but the water passage gaskets are going, what looks like the head gaskets. So I'm going to have to take the heads off, which is a bit of an involved job. I've got a gasket set and all the bits I need to do it in the van. Well, I hope they are, because they're not at home, so I'm assuming they're in the van. So it's going to be taking the heads off, which means taking the exhaust manifolds off, inlet manifolds off, yeah, draining the oil, taking the rocker covers off, taking the rocker assemblies off, push rods out, push rod tubes out, changing all the seals and everything. Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a mechanical day today. However, if we get that done in good time, or if I want to break from that at any point, I've got some other stuff I need to do as well. So I've picked up some brand new wheels as well. Brand new wheels, brand new tyres, original. Yeah, I listen to you, I do listen to you guys. And I've got some fancy new hubcaps, have a look at these. Ooh, yeah, look at that. So, yeah, I need to polish these up a little bit, and I've got some lacquer for them as well, so I want to lacquer these. It's furniture lacquer, so it's probably crap, but it's the only stuff I've got, and it was free, so I'm going to use that, and then swap the wheels out, which means that I will have a full set of these going. So I know you probably saw in the previous videos where I buckled one and knackered it. Well, this is the replacement for it. I've got a full set of these now, full set of 4. And I've got all the spaces to go with them. So if anyone's interested, I might do a little bit of a giveaway at the end of this video. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. Right, so I've already jacked the back up. I've already drained the oil. And I've took the rocker covers off as well. Oh. Oh. So now all I need to do is just take things apart. I'm going to wait until I finish this, and then I'll go and get my socket set and I'll get under there. Whilst I've just remembered, and I need you to remind me as well later, on the opposite side rear, that brake piston was knackered, was leaking, wasn't it? So I've got a spare one of those, so I'll do that as well. Please remind me. I may as well put all the new wheels on today as well. Yeah, I'll have a look at that. Right, come on then. I'm avoiding it as much as I can. Let's get under there. Here we are. So you remember it's a boxer engine, so there's 2 opposing cylinders either side. I've got the rocker covers off. Here's the rocker assembly now. The problem I've got is it's this gasket here. These rubber gaskets are knackered on both sides. There's all sorts of coolant and stuff leaking out of them. It can't hold any water, which is a problem. So, means getting the inlet manifold off, the exhaust manifold off, which is below, and then taking the rocker assembly off, undoing the head bolts, taking the head off, swapping everything out, putting it all back on, and then doing it again that side. So I'm going to start with inlet manifold because it's easy to get to, and then I'll do exhaust manifolds because they're second easiest to get to. Well, and at the back there, they're going to be awkward. Cool. And then I'll get you in at that point, and we'll when we start taking the head off, I'll show you what I'm doing. Right, wish me luck. So I thought I'd show you quickly the gasket set that I had, which have 2 rocker cover gaskets. Very good. These are the badges we're after. These water passageway gaskets. They're like, I suppose, head gaskets of a type, but rather than sealing the top of the cylinder, they seal the actual head against the block. So, yeah, cylinder head gasket, I suppose. The actual head gaskets themselves are these. They're just these real steel rings which sit on top of the piston, and then they like sandwich inside the head. It's very interesting actually. So we'll be changing those as well. Exhaust gaskets, naturally. We've got rear main we don't need. Seals for the top and bottom of the pistons. You'll see when we get in there. I'm not going to be doing the bottom rings. I'll probably swap out the top rings. And then seals for all the pushrod tubes as well. Again, I'll show you when we get there. What else have we got? Holy moly. oil seals. It desperately needs it, but I'm not going to do it today. All the gaskets for... What the bloody hell? Yep, those. And more exhaust gaskets. What are these bloody... They look like... Oh, they're the inlet manifold. From the carb inlet manifold to the engine. Yeah, there you go. So that's what you got. Can't remember how much this was. I think it was about 60 quid off eBay. So it's probably all made of Chinese cardboard. But there you go. That's what it is. That's what I've got because that's what I can afford. So, yes, let's crack on with this. Nice. Right, for those of you that are interested, I did some research. You've got to use your owner's manual and your Haynes manual, but there was a channel that I used. There's a chap called Vanagon, right? And he had a video where he was refurbishing the heads. Well, he was taking the heads off, putting new ones on. And that video was great. And he's a nice chap, quite informative, and his videos are pretty good as well. He's been doing it for 15 years. At the time of filming, he had been doing it for 15 years. Whether or not he still does it or not, I don't know. But yeah, his video was really informative and it helped me a lot. So right. Again, with anything, as you're taking stuff off, you want to be putting these back in the holes where they came from. You don't want to lose any of this or forget where it goes. Top tip. Also be careful of all the electrical connectors. I don't want to smash all these up. They're like very brittle and old. At some point it'll all need replacing, but if it works, just fucking leave it alone, guys. At the minute it works, so I'm not touching it. One crisis at a time. Everything's going pretty swimmingly. All the bolts are out, inlet's loose, all the bolts out the exhaust. However, until I reach this guy, these are pretty rusted on there. So you will not get a better chance than your first attempt at a rusted bolt or nut. So you want to get as much off the head of the bolt as you can, because you want good purchase on there. So you want to get all that off. And then you want to get some heat on it, if you like my jerry-rigged barbecue thing. So I'm going to get some heat on this, and then hopefully these can come loose. Hey. Okay. Now you want to be careful of gaskets and rubber pipes. You don't want to be melting stuff while you're in there. So you want to angle it in such a way that it's just going to hit that bolt and the surrounding area. You want to watch out for rubber. Right, now you want to try and give it a tap. Sometimes that helps. Where's the... Where? It was just here a minute ago. Where the bloody hell's that gone? Very gently, because these are the scary bolts. If I break one of these off in here, that's game over. So you want to work it back and forward. If it starts to feel weird, stop what you're doing. Nice and gentle. Ah, and there you go, and it should come free. Beautiful. Right, I've got the top one to do now. If you're worried about your rubber pipes, use a bit of a heat shield. Just any old metal will do. But even then, it's still need to be really careful. So I've just removed the heat shield from this side of the engine so we can get a better look. And you can see it's just not holding water at all anymore. These are the pushrod tubes, which is quite cool. Central cam, push rods, and then the rocker assembly there. It's quite interesting design. I like it so far. I'm going to do this side because it's the most awkward one. We'll see how we get on. I don't really want to touch any of this at all if I can help it. It all looks like a bad time. So yeah, I'm just going to go nowhere near any of it and just work around this. Well, I'm at the point now where I can get to the rocker assembly. I need to take those two bolts off there, these two off, boop and boop, and then I can get to these, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 underneath there, 7 and 8. Those are the head bolts. So that's what I'm doing next. Yeah. See what I can do. Right. Now I've done the outer 4. I'm going to take those off completely, and then I'm going to do the inner 4. You'll notice that there's quite a lot of coolant coming out of here, because on the bottom of these, at the face of these nuts, if I can get one off, I'll show you. Ooh. Right. The bottom of these head nuts are also a sealing surface against the head. So when I'm putting these back together, sorry, I know I'm shining light in your face. I need to put a blob of sealant around these when they go back on, and it helps seal all this up. I need a towel. I'll get some rags and then I'll carry on with this. Oh. Okay, note to self. Drain the coolant before you start. Yeah, I'm doing this so you guys don't make the same mistake. Yeah, drain all the coolant first. Now the coolant's drained, I should be able to crack on. Nightmare. Now, before I remove this head, I need to take these push rods out. Now, you must remember which hole they go in. I've got everything laid out quite neatly here, so remember which one they go in, because they need to go back in the same one. Once those are out, I'm gonna mop or clean this, wow, and then I'll take the head off. Come on, lad. Right, I've dried off a little bit now. I've got some glue roll to try and dry up as much as I can. Right, I've got the big hammer out and I managed to loosen off that bottom head, the one on the left hand side. It's the worst one. There's all the exhaust and everything, it's all plumbed, all the coolant system goes through it and everything. That's going to be the worst one, so that's why I started there. Right, so I've got it to just eke off from the engine side. Now, there is a problem where as you're pulling the head away, the bores that the pistons sit in will try to come with it, right? Because there's a little O-ring on the top of those bores that holds it sealed to the inside of the head, where the head gasket is. You'll see when I take it off. Now, as you're pulling, it will want to pull those bores with it. Now, there's a little tab on the middle between both bores, and what I'm going to do is move the head slightly away, slip a screwdriver in between, or a fid chisel or something, flat head, flat edge, and then pry, so I'm pushing the bores in to the engine whilst prying the head away from the engine so that the bores don't come with it. I only need to clear about half a centimetre, about a quarter of an inch maybe, until that lip and that seal break off, they come away from the top of the bore. So I only have a little bit to push away. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to dry everything up because I am like soaking all the way down. So I'm going to dry everything up and then I'm going to do that. It's the fuel. It's the fuel that keeps me going. You've got to. I can't work without it, guys. Oh. Well, this is turning into an absolute slugfest. but you can see the tabs on the top of the cylinder, which I was talking about. Right, you want to pry on those. You do not want to pry on the lip of the bore. These are the tabs which you pry on. This is fighting me every step of the way. Everything's all connected to it, but obviously I've disconnected everything. It just looks pretty bloody mucky in there, so it's just taking a bit of drama to get off. This side is going to be a piece of piss. There's absolutely nothing going through that. I cannot wait to do that side. This side is almost making me go home at the minute, but I need to persevere because it's the only day I've got to do this. So I need to get on with it. Oh. Right. It's about now I start regretting that I've done this. So where the studs come through the head, there's muck and rust in between that, and so the heads have moved out and then they're getting caught on this rust stuff, sludge crap, and it's so hard to pry because I don't want to pry on the top of the bore, so it's just going to take brute force and time, I think. This is the hard side. This is the hard side. The other side's gonna be easy. The other side's gonna be easy. Come on. Water bloody passageways all over the shop. Right. That's enough of that. Brute force time. I'm sick of this. There we go. Wow. I'm going to show you this. Oh, look at this corrosion. Look at that corrosion around those studs. That's what was holding it in. All the upper studs have got that on it. Bloody nightmare. Right, hey, good news though. That's the worst side off. Yeah, let's get it off. Clean everything up, change all the seals, change all the bits and bobs, get it back on. And then that side should take me about an hour. Rather than how many hours this one took me. Oh, boom. Right. Wowee. So this is the head gasket here. It looks like they've put head gasket sealant around it as well, which is fine, I suppose. But all this muck. So yeah, the water passage channel runs around the outside of the cylinders. I'll get you in so you can have a look at the actual engine. It's very interesting design. Here's the guy that's been causing all the trouble. It's out of the way inlet manifold. This guy. I mean, and it looks fine. It looks, oh no, it's knackered, yeah, look. It's knackered. So yeah, it's still supple though, it's still malleable. But they're a common thing, these do go. And the problem is, yeah, you have to take the fucking heads off to change them. But that's the name of the game. That's the name of the game. Right. So, next step. Clean all this face off. This has got all sorts of God knows what on there. Clean all that so this is flat. Right? And it looks to me like it's been running pretty lean as well. So I think the carb needs looking at as well. You can see that all that white, and you can see around the edge of the end of the spark plugs as well, they're pretty white and dusty, powdery. That's a strong indicator of running lean, which you don't want to do. Ow, wow. Holy crap, how have I missed that? Look at the state of that piston. Can you see that? All the damage on that piston. On that head. I'll have to look at the piston. Oh no. Right, come on, let's go and have a look at that. Those pistons. Luckily, I don't see any damage on the pistons. So the pistons must be new and that cylinder head must be just old. So I'm going to clean all this up, get all this muck off, clean these surfaces, change all these seals out. And we'll have a look at those as well. The lifters look okay, nothing's come apart or popped or anything. So yeah, change all the seals, clean everything up, get all the new seals on, and then get it all back on, get it onto the other side. Nice. So the worst just happened. Come to bolt everything back on, and the bloody head stud has snapped, which is a blow, because all that's going to have to come back off now, and I'll have to get a new set of head studs and do all that again. The problem is not I'm not doing it because I want to do it. I'm doing it because it needed doing. Like, it couldn't hold any water. So I had to change those gaskets. But it just, yeah, it needs a bit more than just a couple of gaskets. That's a bugger. It's a real blow, because it's 3:30 now on a Saturday, and there's nowhere I'll be able to get some of them now. And tomorrow I'm working overtime, and then I'm back in work on Monday, so today was the day. Which is a shame. Right, well. Classic. Right, well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that's going to have to be the end of it for the time being. Like, I could take the other head off and start cleaning all that. I might do. Yeah. So, this isn't the end. Remain calm. I'll get some new head studs. I'll have to take that head off again. Bit of a bugger, but it is what it is. I'll have to get a pair of vice grips on that stud and get that stud out. And then, well, get them all out really, and then replace them. And then all it is just starting again. That's it. Apart from that, that's about it. I'm going to carry on with the other side. So I'm going to get the other head off, get all the old gaskets out, get all the old shite off, and change and put all new stuff on ready. And then this week coming, I'll try and order some studs, and I'll have to do it in the evening. But I'll catch up with you again when I've done that. Well, and on that note, I'm probably that's all I've really got time for. So, hey, if you like what you see, and if you like the van, please give me a like. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. I've got a lot more coming on this, as well as once I've finished with the engine bay, it'll be all the interior. What am I going to do there? And I want to ask you guys, actually, what I should do. So next time I'll bring you in, and we'll have a couple of choices, and we'll work out what we're going to do. Thank you very much for watching. Also bear in mind that I have now a full set of 4 cookie cutter Porsche wheels going, with the spacers to match. So if somebody's interested in it, why don't you subscribe and stick yourself down in the comments and let me know what project you would want to put those wheels on. And if I like it, the best one wins. I'll get in touch. So yeah, I'll see you next time. I am soaking and freezing.